Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about Postgres, which is a database, and Prisma ORM. But before that, let me tell you how data flows in a full stack application. So in full stack application, we have three things: client, it could be your mobile phone or it could be your laptop. So first we have client, the second is our HTTP server, and the third thing is a database. So the client sends a request to the HTTP server for the data. Then this HTTP server sends a request to this database for the data. This database sends back the data to the HTTP server, and then this HTTP server sends back the data to the client. So let me repeat it again. This client sends a request to the HTTP server. This HTTP server sends a request to the database. The database returns the data to the HTTP server, and then this HTTP server returns the data to the client. So this is how data flows in a full stack application. In this video, we are going to learn two things. First, how we can run a database either locally in our computer or somewhere else. And the second thing is how we can establish the connection between this HTTP server with this database. So in this video, we are going to use NeonDB for our Postgres database. So the first step that you have to do is to come to this website neon.tech, and here you have to log in. When you log in, you will come to this page that is create project. Here you have to write the name of the project. So let's write it Twitter Backend, and the database name, let's keep it Twitter Backend. Okay, so first you have to provide the name of your project and the database name. Okay, and here you have to select the region. So let me select this Singapore. So this database will be running on a computer which is present in Singapore. Okay, and then we have to create this project. So wait for a while, it will create a project. Once the project is created, let's go to the dashboard, and we need this URL for the connection. So we need this URL to connect with a database. So here, if I want to connect this HTTP server with the database, I need this URL. So let's see how we can use this URL to connect our HTTP server with the database. So for the connection, we will use this Prisma ORM. So what is this Prisma ORM? So basically, an ORM stands for Object Relation Model, and it abstracts all the complexities of database from you. For example, we don't have to write raw SQL queries. For example, select star from user table. We don't have to write it. This will abstract all the complexity of database from us. So let's click on the quick start button, and you will come to this page. Here first we have to install this Prisma. So let me copy this, and let's come to our VS Code, and here I have to run this command. Okay, so npm install prisma -- save dev. So let's wait. So this command will install Prisma CLI in your application. After installing this Prisma, we have to initialize this Prisma ORM. So to initialize Prisma ORM, we have to run this command npx prisma init. So let me copy this. So let me copy this, and let's come to our VS Code. So I think we have installed this Prisma. Okay, this Prisma has been installed. Now we have to run this command npx prisma init. This will create Prisma ORM. Okay, so it will create a folder Prisma, and inside this folder it will create this file schema.prisma. So let's see. Okay, so a folder called Prisma already exists in your project. It is giving me an error, so let me delete this folder, and let's try to run this command again, and it will take some time. And it created this Prisma folder with this schema.prisma. Now the first thing that we have to do is set the database URL in the env file. So let's come to this env file, and here we have to set the database URL. So where we are going to find this database URL? So if you remember in NeonDB, if you come to this NeonDB dashboard, we have this connection string. We have to copy this string, and here we have to paste this string. So this string will help us to connect our HTTP server, our Node.js HTTP server, with the Postgres database. Okay. So after setting up the Prisma ORM, we can create a user model. Okay, so let's create a user model here. So let's come to this schema Prisma and let's create a model user. Basically this will create a user table, and in this table what attributes do I want? So first I want this ID. Okay, so let me copy this and let me paste it over here. So we have ID, it is of type integer, it is the default value will automatically increase. Auto increment means automatically increases the default value, so it starts from 1 2 3 4, so on and so forth. And then what we need next, we can use email, we can use name. So let me copy this, let me paste it over here. Okay, so let me copy this and let me paste it over here. And what else do we need? We can also use a username that is of type string, and let's call it unique. So we will have two things, a unique email and a unique username. We have name, let's change this to first name. So first name, and let me tell you about this question mark. So basically this question mark means this first name is optional attribute. Okay, and let's make another attribute, last name, it is of type string, and let's make it optional and let's make it compulsory. So the first name is compulsory but the last name is optional. So we have this table, the user table, which have ID, email, username, first name and the last name. So we have 5 attributes in this user table. If we go to our Neon database, so here if we go to this table, right now this table is empty. We have created this table here, we created this model here, but here I'm not getting the table. So how do I get a table, this user table here? So to get the user table, we have to run a migration to create database tables. Okay, so whenever you have to create database tables, you have to run migration. So to run migration, we have to run this command npx prisma migrate dev hyphen name in it. So let me copy this and let me paste it over here. Okay, not this, let me go over here and let me delete this and let me paste it over here. So npx prisma migrate dev hyphen name in it and press enter. It will take some time to migrate. So let's come to this documentation and read what this command do. So this command does 3 things. The first thing is it creates a migration file, then it executes this migration file and it automatically generates a Prisma client. So we'll learn about this Prisma client API later in our videos, but for now let's focus on how we can create a database table using this migration. Okay, so I think it says generated Prisma client and your database is now synced with your schema. So let's come to our database and let's refresh it and let's see whether we are getting the user table here or not. So fingers crossed. And if you see, we have this Prisma migration and we have this user. We have attributes like ID, email, username, first name and last name. So to create a user table, what we did, we ran this command npx prisma migrate dev hyphen name init, and it created a user table in our Postgres database. So far we have a database that is running in a computer that is present in Singapore. Second thing that we did was we connected this HTTP server with the database. So let me summarize what we did so far. First, we installed this Prisma. Second, we initialized Prisma ORM and it created this schema.prisma file. Then we went to this .env file and pasted the connection string that we got from this neon database, and then we created this model, and after that we ran this command npx prisma migrate dev hyphen hyphen name in it to create a table for this user, and it created a table that is called user. So let me create another table. Let's call it model, let's call it testing, and let's put id that is int, and let me copy this whole thing. Okay, so this is just for testing, and let's make attribute, let's call it num of type int and name of type string. So you can create lots of tables. So now let's try to create a table. So we have to run npx prisma migrate dev hyphen hyphen name. Let's change the name, let's call it testing migration. Okay, and now let's run this migration. It will take some time to create a table in the database, and it will create a testing table which contain id, num and name attribute. Okay, so let's wait for a while. So our migration has been created, and let's go to our database. Let's go to our database and let's refresh it. Okay, and we can see a new table testing over here. Okay, right now this migration is taking a lot of time. The reason of that is this database that we are using is present in Singapore. So yeah, it is taking time because it is present, it is not running in our computer. So in the next video we will learn how we can run this database in our own local computer using Docker. So before then, play around with this model, try to run migrations and create tables over here. We will delete all these tables, we will delete this testing table in our upcoming videos, but for now you can play around it. You can go to this documentation and try to read what this documentation says. So this is it for this video. In the next video we will be running this database in our local computer using Docker. If you're not familiar with Docker, it's okay, you can use this neondb database for this whole course. Okay, so I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.